and welcome back to this part 2 of our SAEF podcast from the horse's mouth on the International Biomechanics Symposium coming this May to Kyalami, being hosted by the Centerline Collective. We're busy interviewing Alay and Simon and having a great time. So please, if you have missed part 1, I would recommend starting with that. And here we are diving straight back into part 2. What role does proprioception and body awareness play in effective riding?
In effect of living, right? Not only riding, living, right? Is what I think is the most important part in riding. We need to understand our body, feel our body, and proprioception is the most effective way. And nowadays we can apply right there when we're riding, we can improve our proprioception. That is fantastic. That is amazing, right? We don't need to do a separate session to improve that. We can improve the movement right there, right now, in that trot, in that canter. We can give our brain that that candy like that
Nice.
that sweet
Dopamine.
right. Yes. And remember that our brain is happy when it can predict what's happening. So that movement, if our brain is able to predict how's the movement, how it will be the next stride, how I will be able to make that transition, that's how we get better and better. Proprioception is the way. That's the only way. Increase your proprioception, and you will increase your feel and your coordination.
Now, obviously, a strong, fit, healthy body plays a part in this. But we've all seen what those para riders do at the Paralympics is phenomenal. And every time I want to moan about something, I think of that Danish girl who has no legs and gets a horse to go. And I think it's unacceptable that I'm so useless. But how much of you're saying the brain is playing you can't just be a fit, strong person. You really need to have those neural pathways and a happy brain.
Yes, a happy brain, a healthy brain. Our brain, riding is not about strength. It's about coordination.
Love that. Yeah.
It's a dance. We say, but no, we are really responding to another body, to the horse's body. So it's more about coordination than strength.
Yeah.
So you can be a little bit overweight. You can be a little bit, but if you are coordinated, the horse is going to be super happy.
Yeah. Simon, what are some of the most common mistakes riders make while they're trying to build top line in their horses?
I don't think I've ever seen anyone deliberately try to build top line. I think that they wish for it.
So wishing and not doing.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if. I mean, it's one of the things that I deal with because nobody does it.
So let's go back. Do you think? Are you generally seeing? You think we're not developing our horses' top lines with the?
No. Okay. Most people, when they remove the saddle from their horse, there's a hole where the saddle went. And I think that, so what happens, so basically it's about this, muscle distribution is based on function. So which parts of the horse's body are working harder will grow your muscle mass. You know, you watch a tennis player and their racket hand, that arm is twice the size of the other arm. So what happens is unless you deliberately isolate certain muscle groups in the horse's body, the others get stronger to make up for it. All right, the horse is just doing the best they can. To develop the trapezius and the splenius and in fact, all the top line mechanisms, you have to employ them. And to employ them, you have to put the horse in a position where they can't use the superficial large muscles. we have to isolate the movement that we're requiring the horse to do to activate the muscles along the top line in a way that doesn't put them under too much pressure, but puts them under sufficient pressure so you get an activity. And then, of course, when you do build up the horse's top line, and it can then, once it's strong enough, become dominant in carrying the horse, and then it takes over. And that's the beauty of riding, is that ultimately you don't have to do anything, because if you've done your job correctly from the beginning, the horse brings everything. They bring the education, they bring the balance, the ability to carry you, the ability to solve their own balance issues. That's the beauty of it. So I would say that when I see people, riders and trainers, trying to develop the horse's top line, the work they are doing is too generalized to isolate those muscles to the point that they have to take over, do the work, and therefore get stronger.
And that is why they need to come to you. Correct.
Well, again, I think that the whole point of the Biomechanics Symposium that we've got going is, and I think that everyone listening to this should come along, because it's about concepts. If you don't know that something's there, you haven't got a chance of finding it. People like Ale and myself, we've been doing this for, Ale, I know you're probably 21, but I'm going to say that you've been doing this for a while. We've made all the mistakes. All right, exactly. So our job is to say, look, you're looking under the wrong rock. All right, go put this in your mind. When you get on your horse, think about this. Think about doing this. And you will make more headway by changing how you look at what we're doing than you will by grafting and sweating and bouncing around for the next 30 years. God knows I spent 15, 20 years training horses the way I was taught, incorrectly. And I would top out, they'd get injured, they'd get strain injuries. They were upset with me. I was upset with them because I couldn't understand why these things weren't happening. But that's because a standardized method of training horses, although it has a lot of benefits from the past, as we talked about, is one size does not fit all. So if you know, coming to a symposium like this, you'll learn concepts about your own mobility in the saddle, concepts about how to communicate through stimulus response with your horse to create good reactions that you can then predict, so that you can relax and follow through, and then they can relax into their job. And that's what it's all about. It's not about watching people striving to win a gold medal. That's not going to make your riding better. It's watching us work people and horses and seeing the difference it makes in an hour. That goes in, and that's useful.
Simon, I want to link this up to my next question with you, which is, what is the importance of core strength in the horse, and how is that linked to the top line? Because these are your two, I think, your two concepts, and how what is the first step to engaging and connecting those two correctly? But first, let's the core strength of the horse and how it relates to the top line.
Okay, so to have the ability to self-correct, to manage their center of gravity, their body has to be in good condition, just like a human athlete. Okay, so without the adequate training and conditioning, a human being isn't going to be good at a sport, because they'll be lumbering around, they can't manage themselves. Then, so that's one aspect. How can the horse manage themselves? And then, of course, we complicate the issue by sitting on them. So what I find is that whatever issues the horse has with their own physical aptitude are magnified and accentuated and consolidated by riding the horse. So how do you get around this? So we have to take it on board, and it's our responsibility to educate the horse how to be a better athlete in themselves. Just like you'd send your daughter to ballet classes, it's absolutely no different. It's training, advice, and practice, and building the right muscles, building the right neurology, and the right technique so that they can master themselves. Then we have to deal with the problem of the fact that there's a human being wobbling around on top as well, that the horse is going to react to if they don't know how to cope with it or are not strong enough to cope with it. So what I do is I isolate the main trunk muscles that control the spinal column, so that the horse is so balanced and so able to correct their own center of gravity and master it. So they never lose balance. Then put the rider on board and train the horse how to maintain that optimal posture through the spine, engage the core muscles that control the spinal angles, even though there's a human being on top. And of course, with Alejandra's techniques, that rider that can then allow the horse to come through. Because obviously, if you're going to get in its way, you're going to undo it all, even if the horse is brilliant. I mean, I see them all the time. I see $5 million horses going through the sales in Germany. 2 years later, you don't see, they've gone. Where have they gone?
Yes.
Somebody lumped down on their back, and what, it's the spine. You don't get to mess around with the spine. If you put the spine a few degrees out of angle, you get this cascade of issues. So my work, what I found, and again, I didn't think this in the beginning, but I've sort of deduced it by having so many horses with so many issues. The only thing that got me around it was, again, strengthening and suppling the mechanisms that control the spinal column so that they can function, so that they can function really, really well, again, just like we train a human athlete, and as well, strengthen them to about 150% more than the equine athlete needs to compensate for the fact that there's a monkey on board. Yeah. Once you do that, the whole thing changes. Oh. Then it comes down to technique and also your ability to communicate with the horse to positively reinforce decisions that they're trying to make. Remember, they haven't read any books or seen any of the DVDs. So they're relying on what you do, whatever restraint you put in, whatever stimulus you give. And it's the point at which you stop giving the stimulus is the only piece of information they've got over whether or not that was the right thing to do. Yeah. But you can't do that if the horse is already struggling with their own balance to the point that either, that you have a cyclic negative bunch of forces going on between horse and rider. How can the horse learn? They're just in a survival state by that point. And, again, because they're so nice, they still try to deliver, which is amazing.
Bless them. I was about to say, I know some horses that I swear watch DVDs at night in their stables, trying to be better.
No, I think it's a good idea. We're not using that. We need to do that.
I did see something adorable at one of the pony shows. The child had taken her dressage test and stuck it in the pony's stable that night. And I've never forgotten it. It was adorable. And if we can,
I saw another one. I saw another one where the kid said, "My grandma thought I was amazing."
Oh, that's lovely.
My grandma thought I was amazing. I don't care what the judge says.
Yeah. I want our horses to think we're amazing as well. That's a lovely thing. We touched on this briefly earlier on, Ale. How do you help riders feel what they're doing wrong versus just being told?
Well, our brain works in a very interesting way when we can make a big difference. Like, for example, our vertical balance, right? If we lean a little bit back forward, we'll be sitting with the back part of our seat bones. So first, we're going to understand how the seat bones move, how is the angle of the seat bones, how does it affect the horse's movement, is the riding feeling um, that, like the anatomy and the function of the seat bones, right?
Mm.
If we can make if we change the position, if we change the awareness of the movement, and we can make a contrast, that will make a big impact in our brain. So we learn through contrast. How
Yes.
does this feel compared to how this feels now? What is more efficient? What is easier? What is how do you feel? Or is it better? Is the horse feedback? Is the horse moving better, freely, more balanced? So making a contrast is going to be a very important part for the learning process. And if we put a good self-talk in this contrast, right? If a good image, a good feel, a good, oh, this feels really good, at an emotion, a positive emotion, that will stay really. We will learn much better. That will, our brain will
Yes.
just like, oh yeah, I know how it feels, and I want to look for that feel again. I want to reply that feel again.
So that positive experience creates that it rewires your proprioception. That's
Totally.
really
Proprioception.
interesting.
We can improve proprioception through, of course, knowing the anatomy, of course, knowing biomechanics, then improving the mechanoreceptors or pressure receptors, or, like improving that part. But we need also to be open and positive in our brain to improve movement.
Anne, is it a little bit the chicken and the egg here, what I'm about to ask you? That
Mhm.
mental health is obviously intrinsically linked to this.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So it's
Yes.
because I can't make up my mind if horses are incredibly good for our mental health or very bad. I think horses are good for our mental health, and dressage is bad for our mental health. And those are
It
two
depends.
those,
It
those are two
depends.
different
It
things.
depends. It depends. Let's not put any label on that, because we can change the way we move. We can change the way we talk to ourselves, because the way we talk to ourselves sometimes is so bad. Like, we will never
Yes.
say the things that we say to ourselves to somebody else.
No,
Never.
we would never do that.
We will never treat that. We will never treat a
Yeah.
person like we treat ourselves. So that also influence our movement in the horse. And Simon is laughing, but yeah, that the way we talk to ourselves riding, it will
Well,
influence
our horses also
how
don't
we
know that
move in the saddle.
we're thinking that we're coming with our own heaviness. They just, yeah, I'm sure they just feel like, oh no, this
Oh,
is
they
terrible. You know?
they can
Yeah.
feel our attitude, they can feel our energy, they can hear our heart,
Mm,
and our heart will be connected to our emotions,
mm,
correct? Like,
mm.
they're so sensitive. So the better we start treating ourselves and be compassionate to our body, right?
Oh, that's
Because we
lovely.
need compassion to ourselves, right?
We also
We need to
that's
understand.
I think you're also saying being compassionate to our body and this body positivity movement. I mean, obviously, is it's parallel to what you're saying, but we're very critical. We're
Yeah.
very self-critical. And
Oh,
you say you would never,
so
if I heard
critical.
my friends speaking to themselves the way that I speak to myself, I would never let them do that. That's very interesting.
Never.
That's a
Hmm.
great a
Yeah.
great
And,
consideration.
and we can go a little bit also to the way we teach.
Mm,
Are we teaching in a positive way, and
true.
or are we teaching only from the negative?
I
Okay.
heard a
If you are
lovely.
writing, yeah. If I'm sorry, if I'm teaching a class and you hear, no, 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 that's not it. No, no. Oh my God, what was that?
Yes, yes.
You know, like, okay, instead of, okay, breathe, inhale, exhale, try again, be softer, you know, try to feel the horse's rib cage uh, um, meeting your outside leg. Can you connect that to is everything is connected? Is the way we teach,
Oh, I
the way
love
we
that.
talk, the way we think when we're riding.
I heard a lovely, I can't remember where it was in a podcast, and they said the body sorry, the body don't. You can't say to your body, don't. The body can't do that. It can only do something. And it's the same with manifestation. And I mean, Simon, how often have you, I think I had this experience with you on a long rein and going, don't go to the bottom corner. Don't take your horse there.
Oh,
Instead of,
there you
and
are.
it's like a gravitational pull of the sun. As soon as you know, don't put that out into the universe. You have to be incredibly careful how you manifest. And I love that because, yeah, you can't teach a don't. You have to teach a do. Simon, to come back to you, what role does groundwork play in rehabilitation and performance?
We can't just leave that there. You just went down that rabbit hole. That's a huge rabbit hole. There's so much to say. Ah, God, dear. All right.
Jump in. I love
it. The thing is, I mean, okay, so positive and negative thought manifestation. What are we trying to do? So if you're riding a horse, what are you trying to do? You're trying to communicate somehow to your horse that you're going to go around a corner and jump over something. They have no idea what's coming next. They don't even know that there's a corner there, right? So I think that when it comes to the positivity, as a man, I'm just going to do the man voice for a sec, is that I think that what I'm trying to do, what I try to get the people I'm working with to do is to construct what is going to happen next.
Yes.
Instead of riding defensively or riding in the past or riding in a mindset of what is happening now, by the time you've relayed the information, it's gone anyway.
No.
So that I find what's very important is to say, okay, my horse needs time to process what I'm telling them to do. So that, because they can't act instantly, all right? So everything that I do, all my little pressures and tickles and whatever aids I'm going to put together, they need time to work out what to do with that information based on what I've shown them in the past that I've been either happy with or not happy with. So if you're coming up to a corner, I think for me, as a guy, I think the proactive element of riding is I'm going to give you a little bit of bend. And so your horse goes, processing. That means I'm going to turn that way. I'm going to give a little bit of inside leg to jackknife the rib cage a little bit so that you can get round the corner without falling on your face. So I'm setting the horse up but with so much time that they can process each aid, maybe patterns of aids, that if we've got to that point that we can lay them together, so that when the corner comes or the jump comes, the decisions and all the information I've provided them in so much time in advance that the horse then knows what to do with their body. I think a lot of the time there's this sort of desperation and people feel they're running out of time. When you're riding properly, you have all the time in the world because you are riding 20, 30 meters ahead of where you are. And I think for the psychology of the horse, it's the least you can do, because people surprise their horses with aids. I mean, people draw up to a halt from a trot, let's say, and they go, stop! The horse goes, you know, and if you gave them time, they'd be able to go, oh, okay, right, so I'm going to have to bring myself to a halt now. And so you set them up and then deliver the boom. But they're waiting for it because you've prepared them. Yeah.
But
wow, positive thinking. It has so many different...
Can I say something?
Yes.
It's a code that it makes this very simple. And it's not just for the horse. Is we are as good as we can communicate.
Sorry, LA, we lost you there for a second.
Oh,
There.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. The code is, we are as good as we can communicate.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not just not to the horse, to ourselves too. So that is kind of is in resume that as we can get better at everything if we communicate clearly.
I like that. Okay. Simon, can we go back to groundwork?
Back on track. Yeah. Okay. Well,
But
groundwork's important.
Elaine, you can
Okay, that was so much fun.
Elaine, you can also interrupt Simon now. Okay. You get.
Yeah, it's far away.
No,
Okay.
no, I will never. I will never.
You must. You must. We're all about parity. Simon, what role does groundwork, and I know you do a lot of this, play in rehabilitation and performance?
All right, I do. Right, so groundwork. Why? Because again, as I mentioned earlier, whatever problems your horse is experiencing, by getting on board, you're just making it harder. Because if they can't balance themselves, or they're bracing somewhere, or they're confused about how to manage their own body, by getting on them, again, you just amplify the problem. So what I like to do, and I find that even though this seems like going from A to D to get back to B, it doesn't really work like that. So what I try to do is I try to train the horse to be the best athlete they can be. And I don't mean Olympic level, I just mean the best athlete they can be. So if you're hairy little pony or your wild Mustang or whatever you've got, we can make them better, just like we can all be better by going to the gym or to yoga or Pilates or something. So it's about optimizing the horse's ability to carry themselves and be a supple, pain-free, and balanced creature. It's best done from the ground, from our perspective, from a couple of points of view. Number one, we're out the way, so we can give the horse enough practice time if we set them up for success with the right exercises. We can give the horse practice time to develop the strength and the flexibility. Because again, the horse's body wants that to happen. It wants to be efficient. It wants to work as best it can, whether it's born in the body of a Shetland or the latest dressage model. So I like to help them improve themselves on the lunge and educate themselves on their own body and how to carry it efficiently. Also, and the second point is, I sometimes, and this is part of the empathy aspect, I think that we get on a horse's back, they can't see us, and then we start issuing these commands that nobody gave them a manual for, which is turn left when I pull here, go when I kick you here. And it's all so alien to them that it's really quite incredible that they actually get the hang of it eventually. Yeah, exactly. Rather than just roll on you. If I was a horse, if I come back as a horse,
I keep saying
don't
I would
try
just
and
lie
ride
down.
me. All right.
I would just, and if you I saw someone try to push a donkey the other day. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Amazing. She's a World Equestrian Games competitor, and she has a miniature donkey. And as she started pushing the donkey went into a laminitic stance, and he just leaned back on her. It was magical, and they both just leaned on each other. And I was like, donkeys have it waxed. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the groundwork. I think what happens is you are two souls. I mean, let's face it. It's all energy. It's all emotion. Really. Being expressed physically. So when we take our horses and we get on them, when we do treat them a little bit like, this is the formula, it's a training situation, I'm going to back you, sit on your back, you're going to get used to my roughly consistent kickings and pullings. When you do groundwork properly and your goal is to lay the foundations for an excellent symbiosis in motion later, you can have a one-to-one eye-to-eye contact with another mammal. You can broach the distance between the fact that we don't have anything intellectually in common. and make that gap closer by looking them in the eye and interacting with them as an entity. Groundwork gives you that ability because you're standing near them, you're looking at them, they're looking at you. When I'm coaching, it's really interesting. So while my client is working on their tempi changes, as they ride past me, I see the horse's eye track me as they go past. They're taking it all in. They're trying to understand it. They're you know, who is that one? Why is that monkey sitting there on the corner shouting? Right. So that, in other words, part of them not being in a defensive mindset is them understanding that this relationship with a carnivore, don't forget that one,
yeah,
is actually one of safety, that they're safe with us. And I think that therefore groundwork allows you to simultaneously establish better function in the horse. They feel better about themselves physically, and that's really important to horses. People are couch potatoes, they don't care. Horses, if they feel good, they become quite happy about life. So, and if you have been part of them developing that, discovering that about themselves, because you were looking into each other's eyes at the time, you develop a bond that is unbelievable, and it's strong, and it's full of trust. And trust is the only component in any relationship. Without that, everything's just, well, how hard are you going to hit me? And what are you going to do? What do I do to stop you? So if somebody's, then you can translate that relationship from the ground to the horse's back, and without them sort of getting the fear. Because I mean, that's where a wolf goes, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And they know that.
We do all the wrong things, and as you say, they tolerate it.
Everything.
But Anne,
amazing.
Ale, I think you would, you know, Simon said, you know, people are quite happy being couch potatoes. And I'm sure you would disagree with that, because while our instinct or our feeling is we would feel like we would like to be a couch potato, it's not actually what our brain rewards us for. We get that short-term gratification, but we're also happy in movement. And I mean, it's we've just got a few mental speed bumps that the horse doesn't have, I think, getting us to that dopamine release.
Yes, totally. And I think everybody that probably have a very sedentary life and start yoga class or movement, we feel better when we move. Our body was made and designed for movement. We were never designed to be 8 hours on a desk like this, right? We were never designed to be sitting a lot. We were not designed to be sitting a lot. We are designed to move. And of course, that comes with all the benefits of exercising, including our mental health again.
Mental health. That's the biggest feedback system. The horses just slot in there. Anne, can you? I mean, I'm sure there are a plethora of them, but can you give us an example of simple off-horse exercises that riders can do? And my original question was to improve their position, but I think I'm going to go in with improving their life. I want to talk about this body awareness that you've been speaking about. What are little things that riders can do to identify?
I love that.
And correct what they're doing in a day-to-day basis. And I can tell you one thing that I've noticed since I've been watching your stuff is if I tend to rest a leg while I'm standing in a queue, I always take all my weight onto my left leg and I rest my right leg. And I've been, and it's irritated the crap out of me. You've ruined my life. Because now I notice it all the time.
No, this is amazing because now you're aware of it. How can we change something that we're not aware that we're doing?
But yes, the more I've been listening to your things, the more but it's interesting because again, my instinct is to be irritated with myself instead of, I love LA. Simon, isn't she great? She's going, it's wonderful. Voila. You know, you've discovered something. And I'm going, you know, you can tell I'm a dress-up rider.
And I'm excited. I'm excited for you because now you notice it and we can do something about it.
So
let's experience proprioception, right? let's sit, and I want you to do it too, please. All right.
Come, Simon.
So let's move. Come on, Simon. Let's just move our right shoulder and feel. I was flying yesterday. I'm very tight right now, so it's very good for me to do this with you guys. Okay, so let's compare the movement on the right shoulder, and let's compare the movement on the left shoulder. It's an easy movement. Okay. So if you will rate that sensation from 1 to 10, how was that? Easy, comfortable? 1 being very bad, 10 being, oh, I'm like a jaguar. Yeah, I'm moving great.
I would love to feel like a jaguar.
What was?
But I could definitely feel my right shoulder was at about a 6 and my left shoulder's at about an 8.
Oh, good. All right. That's interesting. What about you, Simon?
Disturbing amount of cracking going on. But then I am redecorating my house. I'm doing all sorts of things that I don't usually do.
But yeah, 5, 6.
I give myself a modest 5.
5. Okay, but that is not cracking. You're crunchy.
Crunchy.
I'm crunchy.
I like that.
Okay. All right. So now let's just tap the right shoulder. The right shoulder.
Just
tap. Just tap. Shoulder on the back, on the front.
Hail
A
Caesar.
little bit on the neck. A little bit on the chest here. Again in the muscle. Back. And we can tap the arm now. And the hand. Open hand or closed hand, whatever you want to. Under the arm.
Gosh.
And shake it. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it all over, all over. Come on. Okay. Now, breathe for a second and feel the difference just with the tapping. How's that? How does the right shoulder feels compared to the left shoulder?
It's definitely more awake.
We can move the same movement that we did before. How's that?
Much better. I also feel a bit giggly, but I can't tell if it's just because Alay's enthusiasm is infectious.
But it makes your brain happy. You feel happier, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It's either osmosis or it's just the giggles. It's great.
Okay. So now compare the left side to the right side. The side that we haven't tapped.
Now they feel the same.
Tap. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
I feel definitely better on my right side. That's the side that we tap.
Yes.
And we just connected. We just gave our brain a little bit of information that was not even 30 seconds, and we experience something, right? It's alive. I know where is it. I can feel it dropped a little bit, more relaxed, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is a little bit stiff.
Harder, yeah.
Still. Yeah, harder, kind of heavier also in my side. So let's do the left very quick.
And Alay, how does releasing this tension translate to your horse?
Well, every joint is designed to absorb forces, right? That's the key. If we understand, or our brain collects or understand where our body is, and
Simon, catch your crunchy arms.
Crunchy.
Yeah.
We have more awareness. We're going to absorb forces better. When we ride, our job is to absorb forces, right?
Yeah.
Shake it a little bit. And move it back. Oh, I feel so much better.
That's great. I just gave myself a Swedish massage.
Yes, and feel your position. What happened to your chest? What happened to
Yes, it
what
feels like
happened? Better.
everything's kind of expanded and released.
And I didn't change anything. We just changed the perception from that body part in our brain. We just gave our brain more information about that body part. So tapping
That's interesting.
is free, and we can do it
Anywhere.
anywhere, and we can prepare our body to ride, and if anywhere, right? So
And
that will
Alain,
be
we're
a
going to see
very
lots of people
easy
at
and
showgrounds
effective
doing
way.
this after you leave. It's going to nicely
I hope so.
desensitize them in their
I
groundwork.
hope so. I hope so. That would be fabulous.
Thank you. I love that.
You're
Simon,
very welcome.
to come to you, seeing as Alain's just given us such a quick correction, how quickly can riders expect to see changes when applying the correct biomechanics? Because we are in an instant gratification society. How long do you typically recommend people commit to I don't want to call it necessarily a rehabilitation, a nubilitation?
I would say that we can probably count on getting a 30 to 50% improvement in the way the horse goes within an hour.
Within 1 hour. That's incredible. And sustainably, I mean, do people carry this forward now as part of their training regime, obviously?
Sure. I mean, I find the effects of core work are cumulative, obviously. So if you do a little bit every day, then you start to build muscle tissue, which takes time. And obviously the horse starts to get used to using those bits of the body that they may be
You said then you get that top line that becomes that self-sustaining athlete.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. But what I find is that most horses are blocking somewhere, and it actually doesn't take more than 2 or 3 exercises in an hour, again, to get 50% more rideability.
Exciting.
Because just like Alejandra's technique there, in like a few minutes, I feel limber because by focusing on the right thing, you can actually improve the situation quite a lot very, very quickly, which is good. It should be like that. And one of the reasons I came up with these techniques is because I was frustrated that I would have, the really good horses I had would accept the training and would be going through the levels. But about half of the horses I have, and I know this is the same for everyone, they stall at a certain point. And it doesn't matter how hard I worked, they stop progressing. Until I started to try and work out why, and came up with ways of isolating these key body areas, and doing it for an hour or a week or 2 weeks and watching what happened. And I would have horses that really couldn't do a half pass very well at all for the last 2 years. 2 weeks later, fantastic. Because the body gets stuck, and Alejandra just showed us that.
Yes.
What I found quite interesting about that is that we mentioned earlier that you're not allowed to self-flagellate emotionally, but you can hit yourself. Yeah. I want to just find out if there's somebody who can hit me for me. I'm that lazy. But anyway, we'll talk about that afterwards.
I will tap you.
You'll come and hit me?
Yeah, I will tap you.
Thank you. All right, wonderful. It's a deal.
Alain, can I ask you, and it's so funny because this was my last question for you, but we've just had one. What is one aha moment you often see when riders begin to understand their own bodies better?
Feel. Did you see how it felt? The sensation felt like our brain, we're talking and our body is there, and we're just, and now we kind of feel our posture, we feel better, we feel a little bit happier. So that feedback, immediate, because it's a loop, right? We put the information in the input, right? And our brain gets that information, and that loop gets the result of coordination, feeling better, everything. So that happens immediately. That's right? So cool. And we feel more, finding a better a wider base when I practice this for the seat bones or for the base of the hip or for the base of the pelvis, and find that we have been sitting on the saddle and we think we feel the saddle until we give our nervous system an upgrade and we really feel the whole saddle, and our brain is like, oh yes, this area is bigger and I feel safer in the saddle because I'm able to feel it better. So I would say feel will be, like the most important thing that we will
I
get.
love that. The ever elusive feel.
Because we think we feel until we feel.
Until we feel.
Mm-hmm.
Simon, last question for you. Is there one myth about equine conditioning that you'd like to debunk?
That your equipment is going to save you.
Sure. That's a good one, because I think your equipment is is one of the biggest crutches, right? That we are hiding behind.
Yeah, it's we've all played musical chairs with our saddles. I've probably got about 40 saddles because for a while I thought that if I just keep changing the saddle, the horse would go better under saddle because it's the saddle, right?
Yeah.
But after, $4 or $5 million, you realize that in fact it's not working. And there's an issue under the saddle. The equipment wasn't the issue. And, and also when the horse is going really well, the saddle is just a minor issue. As long as it's not hitting anything or it's really interfering or bridging too much, it's usually all right.
I don't want to send you into a spiral here, but when you said equipment, I'm thinking about people who are going to leave this podcast wanting to work on their top line and they're going to go put their horse in a Chambon or a debunk. Do you even want to touch on that?
Yeah, right. All right. So here's a fundamental that we really need to change our perspective on. Is the horse's body is perfect. It was designed perfectly for motility. The real trick, and again, this is very interesting because Alejandra has been a top competitor. I've ridden at a high level too. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to stop everyone from going down the rabbit holes that lead nowhere. Okay, so the rabbit hole when it comes to the horse's body is you can't achieve anything through compression. It is not a question of containment. It is not a question of shaping the outside of the horse's body into a classical shape, and then it will all go well. It doesn't work that way. You take your lever bits, and you take the spurs off, and you take your whatever away, and the horse just returns to where it was. The real trick, is you expand the horse's body. By expanding the horse's body longitudinally, laterally, vertically, by everything opening up, it all drops into line, and then the horse can do what you'd like it to do, and it's going to be much more receptive to do it. So when I do, a lot of the work that I do is to decompress anything that has become too compressed. Nice. Sometimes it takes longer. If it's been there for 10 years, it's going to take a couple of months to get rid of it.
Okay.
Kissing spine is a compression of the spinal column. But I find that everything from contact issues to lack of impulsion, lack of engagement, lack of balance, lack of expression are in fact the fact that the horse's body is compressed somewhere, and that's locking that part of the body out. So let it go, let it out. That's why I stretch horses all the way to the ground in walk, trot, and canter, because until they can do that, there's compression. And wherever that compression location is, you're not going to get through it. It doesn't matter what you do. You can fake it, and you can work around it, and you can punish the horse into delivering, despite this fact, as best they can. But the way to solve it is to stretch and release the horse's entire frame, and then everything, again, it's designed to be beautiful. It's designed to be efficient. I think they've been horses for longer than we've been non-monkeys. Okay, it's already there. We just have to release it.
I love
So a
that.
lot of what I do is release it.
That's great.
So I have a couple of questions for both of you to answer. Alejandra, if you want to lead us off, why is biomechanics such a critical topic in the equestrian industry right now?
Well, because we have the tools now to understand more, right? Before we were just trying our best again with the tools that we had. Now, every sport is using biomechanics to improve movement, to improve performance. To every sport, golf, tennis, skating, every professional in movement is using biomechanics. They're using the neurocentric approach of movement. So we can improve our riding through all this too, bringing all those tools, new tools, better tools to understand horse and rider. And again, we are a system. We are not doing just an activity ourselves. We're dealing with the horse's body. And that's why this is so beautiful. Because if we can improve the horse's body, we can improve the horse's conditioning and improve the way we move on top of the horse. That is something, right? That is something that every horse lover will like, right? So that's why.
Simon?
Yeah, well said. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Why is biomechanics such a critical topic in the equestrian industry right now?
Because does anyone watch Star Trek?
I'm sure somebody
I watch Star Trek. There must be somebody. Anyway, in Star Trek, in the original one, there was the engineer is called Stotty, and he always used to shout at the captain, "You can't ask me to do that with the Starship Enterprise because you can't disobey the laws of physics." So biomechanics, the whole, you're locked in. You can't help it. The physics, they're going to take you down or they're going to work for you. And if you can turn your back on it or you can embrace it. Again, as Alejandra very well expressed there, it's a fun game to play, and we have the information now. We don't need to guess at these things. So by improving rider and horse biomechanics, we're going to get horses out of a survival mode, out of a probably quite an unpleasant experience most of the time, that they have no voice to express until they can tolerate it no longer. And of course, then we find out. So what we can do is make their soul's experience on this plane as enjoyable as possible. And that is 100% our responsibility. We are choosing to be there, they are not. So I think that biomechanics, it helps them to make us happy, and that makes their lives rewarding or fulfilling.
I think that they can also find joy in the journey. It's great.
Yeah. And if I may say something too, our body also is going to be happier and we can ride for longer. I want to ride until I'm 120. I don't know about you, but I want to be sitting on a horse for, many years to come. And if we like to do that, we need to take care of our body too. As well as just Simon said, is that we make them happier, but we also will be healthier.
Do you both think that riders and trainers are becoming more open to this science-based approach?
Totally. 100%.
Has it been difficult?
Yes. Simon, you can take from here. Yes, that would be it.
And what is the root of them moving from resistance to embracing?
Did you ask me that?
Simon,
anyone?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to, Alejandra? Do you want us to explain? I always like listening to you.
No, I can wait for you.
All right, so
I would like you to answer that.
It's a pyramid. It's a top-down thing. Whatever's happening at the top level filters down through the trainers, the instructors, the coaches, and then to the population. So I think my goal, one of my current goals, is to help the top riders achieve their goals while preserving their horses, the two of them simultaneously. There's a lot of money that goes into keeping a horse at the top level and a lot of work. And so I'm, it's taken a while, it has taken a while. And like Alejandra, I'm part of teams now where I just play my specific role. And my specific role, again, is to improve the horse's way of going so they can ride it better and score higher marks. And I think that what will happen gradually, and I think we're seeing a sort of ethics revolution in horses now,
yes.
which needed to happen, right? And we don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can tidy it up. We can be better. We just have to up the game. I think what's hopefully going to happen is if I can help my clients turn a Grand Prix 7 into a Grand Prix 9, then they will train the trainers that they train in better techniques, and that will go down to the coaches and then go down to the pony clubs, and then it will change it. But it's slow. All change is slow. So I don't think that's part of it. I don't see that as an obstacle.
What do you both
in my experience?
Yes.
I'm sorry. In my experience, I have been really focusing on the normal rider, right? And the normal horse. It's the opposite. I'm coming from the other side of the pyramid. Because we don't have those horses. We don't have that capacity of buying those horses or riding those horses. They don't have the age or the fitness to compete in a super high level. So there is a big piece that is trying, or we are trying to improve all the time to get better and better and better. So we're getting everybody involved, everybody, not only the top, in my experience, also the big masses.
Yeah, the only reason I mention that is because what I find is a lot of the clients that don't have Olympic ambitions, when they want to improve their riding, they go to a competition trainer. That competition trainer has another competition trainer that's competing at a higher level. And so it's a little bit of it's a funnel. Yeah, and what I find is most, particularly in dressage, is that somebody who just wants to ride better ends up forcing their horse into an outline and bonking it around the arena as fast as they possibly can, because that's what the ethos is that's coming down. Yes. So I think it's got to come from the top. It's not that obviously, everyone needs to optimize and get the most enjoyment. But I think because of the structure of education, if it doesn't happen at FEI level, it's probably not going to happen.
And Muller took it one step further, where she said a lot of the onus is lying with judges, because what is being rewarded is what people are going to pursue.
Yes. Yeah. And that illusion, right? The illusion of posture, the illusion of that frame, is because it's just what we see, and that's what we want to achieve.
And we're seeing the ballet shoe. We're not seeing the foot underneath it. Where do you both see the biggest gaps in education at the moment in this? Alain, do you want to go first?
Yeah, for me, it's language. Where we were saying, lovely. Right? The way that's we teach. Language, cueing, that culture that comes from the military, and there are so many squares that we have to fit, right? But language, we need to change the language in the discipline, in the sport, in
Love
the
that.
training, and how we teach the kids, how we train or help horses and people.
Lovely. Simon?
I think we need to take a very, very strong stance against solipsism and alexithymia. I think they have no place in horse sport. And I think that what really needs to happen is we need to look deeper into the emotional aspect of this, not be all fluffy bunny about it, and also not be, the Terminator with a tailcoat. To marry the two by having quality systems, as you say, Ale, communicators, but with really useful things to say that can actually help people in the moment to make discoveries about themselves and their horses. Because I don't think that the sound work practices and training that is good for the horse and top end performance are mutually exclusive. But at the moment they are. People are either cuddling their horses, which is lovely, why not? Or they're driving them insane. And I think that the real trick, yes, because their mindset is one or the other, and it's polarized, and that's nobody's fault. But somebody needs to bring it all together and say, okay, you can have it all. You can do the cuddling and you can do the dancing, but we just need to get these really important factors in place first, and we focus on it, do it properly, and do it positively.
I think we see this polarization, and I think it's designed on purpose. We certainly have seen it purposefully with politics, but it's great engagement, on the internet. It's appealing, and it is, it's not necessarily, I think, where everyone lies, but we do feel obliged. You're either for it or against it, right? You either love your horse or you want to be a high achiever. Those are and like you've both said, there's actually a beautiful place to find an overlap. And again, our bumper sticker, the joy in the journey.
Yeah.
Last question for both of you. What can attendees expect to learn or experience at the International Biomechanics Symposium? Ale?
Well, I think they're going to have a very different experience of a lesson of their own bodies and how they feel the horse's movement. It's going to be a game changer for the riding.
Lovely. Simon?
I think that Hayley Yonker of Centerline Collective, who's organizing this, has been very, very clever about selecting the people that she's invited, the specialists, because she's trying to cover the main bases to help people improve. What somebody gets from coming, I do a lot of clinics and I do a lot of lectures, at universities, I do demonstrations. What people need, I think what filters down well is having a technique explained and seeing a horse go from one state to a better state as a result of a change. My job when I'm in a symposium situation like we're having in South Africa is to explain what I'm seeing in the horses, what I want to improve about the horse's technique and the rider's technique, go through it. They can watch it take place and then they can go home and try it for themselves. So I tend to use, I have a number of, we all, as trainers, we have staples, things that we know work, right? So what I tend to do is take the top, in a demo situation, I take the top 3 or 4 techniques that I use that I know will have an impact in front of your eyes. And I'll show people how to do it, why we're doing it, and they can see the effects themselves, and then they can go home and practice it on their own horse. And if they buy my book as well, I get $1, so that's terrific.
Hopefully they will buy a lesson from you guys as well. I think I think it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for riders. I've really enjoyed speaking to both of you. And I want to say thank you for both of you for joining us tonight. Is there anything either of you would like to add before we sign off?
Well, invite everybody to come to the symposium. We're going to have a great time. We're going to learn lots. So we will wait for you guys there.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you both for this. It's been really interesting.
Thank you.
If you've been watching us through this, this was our wonderful SAEF From the Horse's Mouth podcast with two of the clinicians from the upcoming International Biomechanics Symposium. We would like to say thank you to both Alejandra and Simon for sharing the insights. This was just a small taste and an enthusiastic physio session. Thank you, Ale, of what's to come. If you're serious about improving your horse's performance, your own riding, and truly understanding the partnership between the two, as well as finding the joy in the journey, which I really love, this upcoming symposium at Kailami this May is not to be missed. Please do visit the centerlinecollective.co.za for more, and we'll see you at the next podcast.